There is nothing quite like biting into a perfect pastry. You get that initial shatter and a cascade of delicate, buttery flakes falling away. But to get that texture at home, you usually face a frustrating choice. Settle for the stiff, mass-produced frozen sheets from the grocery store, or spend 3 exhausting days pounding, chilling, and rolling dough like a professional French bakery. Fortunately, there is a shortcut. It takes about 15 minutes, and it goes by the name Rough Puff. You only need 4 basic items to make it work: flour, a pinch of salt, ice-cold water, and butter that is absolutely freezing. This method relies heavily on architecture. Instead of mixing a typical dough, you are building a microscopic thermal steam trap. The process starts simply enough. You drop large, cold chunks of butter directly into the flour. Usually, baking requires you to blend ingredients until they are perfectly smooth. Here, you have to break that rule. The butter has to stay in big, distinct pieces. If it melts or smears into a uniform paste, the entire structure fails. To prevent that melting, you bind the flour together with ice water. Drizzling it in gently wets the flour just enough to form a shaggy mass, keeping the temperature of the butter near freezing. Preserving those distinct frozen blocks of fat inside the dough provides the physical foundation the pastry needs to rise later on. Once the dough holds together, you roll it flat on your counter and fold it into thirds, exactly the same way you would fold a letter to fit into an envelope. In a cross-section, this fold flattens large chunks of butter, stacking them between solid sheets of flour. Roll and fold again. Repeating this 6 times multiplies thick bands of butter into hundreds of paper-thin layers trapped inside. To see why this specific structure is so important, we have to look at the butter itself. Butter is mostly fat, but roughly 20% of it is pure water. When this cold, layered dough enters a 400-degree oven, the fat melts to flavor the pastry. Simultaneously, that trapped water instantly boils, converting into expanding steam. Folded into tight alternating sheets, the steam hits a physical barrier. Unable to escape sideways, it is forced to push straight up. Every single one of those hundreds of butter layers creates its own tiny pocket of steam, working together to lift the dough and create a massive, airy height. Inside the oven, a flat square of dough rapidly inflates. It multiplies in height, separating into distinct bands as it turns a deep golden brown. When you pull it out, the resulting pastry is incredibly rich, impossibly light, and delicate enough to splinter the second you touch it. Make a sweet apple tart, twist savory cheese straws, or wrap a beef Wellington. To achieve this, you just follow 3 strict rules. Keep your ingredients freezing cold, fold the dough like a letter, and bake it at a high heat. By controlling how water and fat react to temperature, you bypass the exhausting bakery process entirely and pull perfect, shatteringly crisp pastry straight out of your own kitchen.